My name is Audrey Reed. I'm married to Arnold Reed, who lives with me here. I was a teacher. I had 2 daughters and I've got 4 grandsons, and I lead a busy life. I lived in a very nice house in Langley with a third of an acre of garden and a really nice old house, but with a windy staircase and quite hard work. I realised the summer before I actually sold that I was waking up in the morning and dreading getting up because there was always so much to do, and it wasn't what I wanted in life anymore. One, you had a house that, it was an old house, 1930s built, but beamed downstairs, and a lot of maintenance, a 90-foot front garden and a 90-foot back garden. I had somebody that helped with the garden, but a big patio that always needed clean. We'd been there for 47 years. It had been a lovely family home, but you'd outgrown its need, really. And going up and down the stairs endlessly to Arnold, who tends to spend a lot of time in bed, was just getting exhausting, It's the location, because I still like, I haven't been recently, but I enjoy going into London, particularly on the free bus, which I used to get in Langley. It's the same one from here that goes through to Langley, and of course it's only 10 minutes walk from here. I've always liked Windsor anyway. My youngest daughter lives in Bagshot, and she had a second child since I came here, so my other daughter lives in Hemel, which isn't too bad, so it was a good location, and I liked the modernness of it, the newness of it. So it's funny because a lot of people would say to me, oh, how can you possibly leave your house, because it had been a lovely home. And I said, well, you don't leave your memories. You take those with you, but you take them in a happy state of mind, rather than it having become a burden, which if you stay too long in a property, this is what happens as you get older. And I was still fit enough to organise it, pack up, sort stuff out, Just having a 2-bedroomed, 1-floored apartment rather than a largish house with heavy, a lot of maintenance. It's taken all that responsibility away, and it's all I need now. I think you can make an awful mistake to try and hang on to what you've had, rather than move forward in what you need when you get to this next stage of your life, and just the fact that you've got somebody you can say good morning to, how are things, and just casual chat. But it's human interaction, isn't it? Whereas if you're living on your own in a house, and you're a detached house, and you don't see other people, you can become very isolated and solitary. Here, everything is there for you if you want to chat to people, but you've got the joy of independence. I mean, I often say to people it's rather like living in a really nice hotel with more than a bedroom. And I used to think, I couldn't do this isn't right for me. But once I'd got this situation with Arnold, it was absolutely the right thing to do, because that provided me with the backup and support that I needed without being controlling care. Because you have a tendency to think that if you go into a care home, you're being controlled, whereas here you're not, because you can behave exactly as you please, come in when you like, go out when you like. When I decided I'd got to move, I was getting quite low mentally because of the process that was going on with my husband, and I couldn't see a future, because it was too much to cope with. Whereas coming here, it took away the burdens, not completely, obviously, but sufficiently for me to still be able to go on and lead a life and do things independently, which is what I do. I enjoy the company of people here, but I don't rely on it totally for my life. It's just part of my life. And I mean, there are 1 or 2 people that I've become relatively friendly with, but I still do a lot of other things independently of here. But it's just nice being here. It's a nice town to be in. I mean, I play a lot of bridge. I sing in a choir in Stoke Poges, which all these things I've continued with. I did them before I came here, and I've carried on with them. So it's just, this place has just embraced and made it easier for me to do those things and to manage it, because Arnold's health has deteriorated mentally and physically, but I can leave him safely in a one floored apartment, and I always notify the desk when I'm out. We've got cameras that my daughters have put up, and they see them on their phones, so I can still lead a pretty full life and know that he's safe. If I'd still been in Langley, I think I'd have probably been not quite with it by now, because it would have been really quite depressing. Even coming here, it's funny, people still have had an image of it being a care home, you know, and you get quite prickly about it, because it isn't a care home. They don't provide care here, but they make it possible for you to manage care, get care, but you still know that you are living independently, you know, and you have the choice. You don't have to join in with things. You can just do your own life, and I think some people do. We don't, you know, however much where you have lived has been important and nice and special, it can lose that when it becomes a burden. And if you leave it too long, it becomes a burden, doesn't it? Because you haven't got the energy, the capacity to do the move. Even think, I've got several, I mean, my sister, who is now 90, her husband 92, they're still living in the house that they moved into when they got married. But, you know, their children say to me, I wish Mum and Dad had done what you've done. And you need to do it while you're still capable of making the move, and I think that's what's so important.